verify your charred little bodies through their dental records? I want a straight answer. Who did this?
Malcolm did it. Reese did it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
We're going to the dentist.
Alright, so before my pants get sued off, no, Toyota and Subaru and Lexus EVs do not catch fire. No, I am not alleging anything against them. This video is purely for entertainment purposes only, and there is no risk of fire in owning a Toyota EV. But they have done some pretty stupid things, and today we are here to talk about that, and I'm here to be real with Toyota. I mean, because there's a storm a-coming. This video is essentially explaining why I don't expect Toyota EVs to sell well, and essentially sort of an autopsy on the stupid plan Toyota had for their EVs. So starting off, why did Toyota decide all of a sudden they wanted to make EVs? Well, personally, I say the sole person to blame is Kia Hyundai. Toyota saw Kia Hyundai. They were good at making EVs. The EVs strengthened their lineup. They made the lineup more whole. People bought their EVs. They were good at making them. They really strengthened the lineup. And Toyota said, that's what I want. I want Jesse's girl. I want to make EVs, and I want to make them good. No more of this. I don't want to make EV stuff. Let's just jump into it and make them great and spread it across all our brands. Toyota, Lexus, and hell, why not even Subaru? Let's just bring them everywhere. And the issue with that is, Kia is good at making EVs, and they make money. Toyota is not, so they don't. The first issue with Toyota's entire EV structure is that they waited too long, and I'm not criticizing them waiting to make EVs. Toyota, in my eyes, originally, in like 2020, when all this stuff started happening, was never supposed to be an EV brand. It was never going to be an EV brand. Toyota, and I thought they were right. They were working on the Mirai, they were working on hybrids and PHEVs, and that was good enough for them. But now it's not. They're like, all of a sudden we're going to make EVs. That was their first mistake. Their first mistake was making EVs too late. They couldn't decide. You either don't make EVs or you do make EVs. Or you don't make EVs and develop your EVs. Or you do make EVs and still develop. You know what I mean? So, and they just could not decide. So they started later than everyone else with older technology than everyone else. And they just really screwed themselves up. Toyota was the first with hybrids. And boy, they are real far behind in terms of EVs. Their second mistake, the badge engineering with Subaru. Guys, enough. The Subaru Uncharted, the Subaru Solterra, and the Subaru Trailseeker. These names, first of all, they don't scream Subaru. Trailseeker, Solterra, and Uncharted, they're trying to go for the super outdoorsy, super lesbian. That's what they're going for, because they think that's what their brand is. Which the buyer is not the brand, you know what I mean? The brand is for the buyer. And it kind of works, but it really does not. I mean, it's just stupid. First of all, none of them, let me do my criticism here. First of all, none of them look like Subarus. Second of all, they all look like each other, so it's essentially a sub-brand. Third of all, the names are stupid. Fourth of all, yeah, they're not Subarus. And any single buyer, besides Richie Rich, whose daughter has like a Subaru Outback Limited and walks in and says, hey, I'll have one of those. Give me the most expensive one. It's an EV. Hell, why not? Anyone that's not Richie Rich is going to notice that's not a Subaru. They use Toyota everything. They use Toyota steering wheels. They use Toyota infotainment. They use everything Toyota. And it's not that bad, because at least Toyota is another Japanese brand. So it's very similar. Subaru and Toyota work together all the time. But with EVs, this is just sloppy. I mean, with the BRZ and the FRS and the 86, sure. It was also badge engineering. Yes. But did they price them differently enough? Did they market them differently enough to different people and split the trim levels perfectly? Yes. With this, they didn't at all. They made the stupidest choices an example of a really stupid choice on Toyota Subaru. I'm just going to call them one brand because that's what the hell they are. First of all, Subaru chose the two because, again, they're trying to do this thing where you either get all-wheel drive as the Toyota, and we'll talk about this later. So essentially, they're trying to split it down the middle. For some reason, when they were splitting up I forgot the name already, the Trailseeker or whatever, there was an all-wheel drive version and two-wheel drive version. Subaru got the two-wheel drive version, and Toyota got the all-wheel drive version. What the hell are we doing here? Subaru is a smaller brand than Toyota. Out of the top three things of the brand, all-wheel drive is number one. The Subaru Impreza, their budget sedan, had all-wheel drive as standard, and their new $45,000 EV doesn't. In what world is that okay? It looks even less like a Subaru. This is, to me, Subaru EVs are like three kids in a trench coat trying to get into an R-rated movie. It is quite possibly the least convincing thing on the planet. And the funny part is, Toyota EVs, I know they were semi-co-developed, but let's be real, most of the heavy lifting was done by Toyota here, because it always has been. The issue is, Toyota EVs are also uncomfortable in their own skin, and they also don't look like Toyotas either. This is genius. So what they've done, and this is how GM killed Holden. In the Holden video, I will be a broken record, and I will say this multiple times. Holden had a very small market share in the markets in which they were sold. Well, you know, decent size, but especially in the small car market, very small market share. Well, decent, you know, like, okay, small comparative to the United States, but decent in Australia. And so they chose to launch 7,000 different small cars, some from Korea, some from the United States, some badge engineered, some on this platform, some on that platform, some Australian native, all competing against each other, and guess what? They could have had it all, they lost it all, because all the cars were competing against each other, and in the end, they were all the same, they were all bad, they were all worse because of it, none of them could stand out, all of them looked exactly the same, the dealerships piled up, and they killed themselves. That's what Toyota's doing now. It's like they've created, it's magical. They haven't assimilated at all. It's like its own sub-brand that it's just conveniently sold at Subaru and Toyota dealerships. And if they're gonna make it its own sub-brand, why not just, you know, make it its own sub-brand? What we're left with is essentially 3 EVs on each side that are unconvincing in the brands that they are placed into, with prices that don't make sense, positioned towards markets that will never buy them. It doesn't make sense. It just does not make sense. And remember I said position to markets that will never buy them? Let me tell you exactly why people will never buy these, and why the choice of what EVs to make, we'll talk about this in a little bit, the choice of what EVs to make was smart. The way they executed it was so bad. So first of all, I was looking through the frequently asked questions on the Toyota, the all-electric family page, where they gloat themselves and they self-indulgent in all the wonderful change they're making to the world or whatever. I was looking through it, and there was one question which I had to click on that. I'm like, really? For once, there's a frequently asked question which I was about to ask. What's the main differences between all the EVs? And the reasons they gave are stupid. And let me tell you, I'm going to point out exactly why they're stupid. First of all, the Toyota BZ is the versatile all-electric vehicle. First of all, this is the same thing that they did with the Prius. You have the small one, which is the CHR. You have the normal one, which is, well, there is no normal one, which is kind of the BZ. And then you have the versatile one, which would be the BZ, but it's the Woodland, and they changed it for more modern purposes. First of all, versatile. Versatile means towing. Versatile means road trips. 2 things that EVs are terrible at. Now, I know Aging Wheels is going to say, well, EVs are great at towing. Let me tell you something. The Toyota BZ is not, sure, the F-150 Lightning and the Chevy Silverado EV may be great at towing. The Toyota BZ is guaranteed not to be great at towing and going long distances. Again, versatile, like the Prius V, a lot of people want that. Why? So that when they went on road trips and stuff, they could have more space in the back. So having a versatile EV, well, it's nice. I think EVs should be versatile. If the only selling point is that it's quote-unquote versatile, Toyota has the Highlander, an infinitely more versatile vehicle, which can go infinitely farther on a single take of gas, and even if it can, it's a pain in the ass to charge it, because on road trips, when you're out in Orson, Indiana, I love the middle, it's a middle reference, there's not going to be a damn charge point down there, so good luck for that. Second of all, BZ Woodland. Why did Toyota even buy stock in Subaru in the first place if they're just going to make Subarus with the Toyota badge on it? What the hell were they thinking? I mean, really, I really want to know what they were thinking with this one. So, you know how we have Subaru, a brand dedicated to all-wheel drive and off-roading. Why don't we make a car specifically for Subaru that's meant for off-roading, an EV that really, out of all the stupid EVs, the one that's the BZ Woodland but Subaru style, what is it, the Uncharted, something stupid, some name, I think it's the Trail Seeker. That is the most convincing of all of them, and it's still very unconvincing. The point is, so out of all the EVs we make, let's choose the Subaru one, let's port it over to Toyota, not change anything, still make it off-roady. Again, for off-roading, off-roading courses are usually out in the sticks. Racing courses, sure, they're in the city. Off-roading courses, like in Colorado and stuff, they're not going to have a damn EV charge port right at the entrance. So, that's a terrible choice as well. A terrible choice. So, first of all, we've got versatility, which is towing in road trips, stuff that the EV is not good at. So, a car that is specifically catering towards people who will buy a car that will never be able to do exactly what they want it to do. Now, sure, there are some buyers that would buy a versatile car that wouldn't want to tow or haul. If you own a versatile car, or a Prius V, or a Sienna, or something like that, have you ever towed, have you ever went on a road trip? The answer unequivocally is yes. That is why you buy a versatile vehicle where you carry around more and you sacrifice gas mileage. That way, you can have a bigger car to do things like road tripping. And then they made an off-roader so that when you're out in the sticks and you run out of, and again, I'm not an EV, I know the range is getting better. These cars all have better range than my RAV4 gets. It gets like 180, I think it's 280, something like that, and these guys probably get more than that. The issue is charging. Places to charge. Road trips might not be a charge port in, bumblefuck Indiana. There might not be a charge port in, Colorado, whatever, on your little BMX mountain bike course that was widened for cars. You know what I'm saying here? And then we have the stupid CHR. And let's just talk about the names for a second. The names don't make any sense at all. Alright, so first of all, we have the BZ. Fine. The BZ4X was a better name, but now that you're splitting the BZ into two, the BZ and then the BZ with all-wheel drive, even though they both have all-wheel drive, which is a stupid decision in the first place, doesn't matter. Now that you're splitting that, fine. Calling it the BZ is fine. BZ Woodland... It just doesn't make sense. Why is the Woodland its old model when every single other version of Woodland under Toyota is a trim level? You want me to tell you why? Because I think you know the answer. It's because Toyota is self-indulgent and they want to seem like they're doing more than they actually do. So instead of having 2 EVs, they need to seem like they have 3, which is why they made the BZ Woodland its own separate model, and also so that they could steal the Subaru one. They could have made a BZ Woodland made off the BZ, you know, like how they do it for every other car out there, but because they developed it, they have to use it, which is really, really stupid. And then the CHR. The name, again, so BZ and BZ Woodland don't make sense. And then having the CHR be completely disconnected is weird, because the BZ Woodland shares some stuff with the BZ, but they are 2 different cars. So we have 3 different cars, 2 of them share a name, and the other one is the name CHR, which is stupid. Let me tell you why. The CHR was introduced as a budget version. Essentially, it was supposed to be a Scion. Scion was cheap, affordable, fun, light, and airy. The CHR is not fun, light, affordable, or airy. It's dense, it's heavy, it's fast, not enjoyable to drive. It is like driving a brick with a V8 engine sitting on top of it. It is the least fun, least inexpensive, least good time you could ever have, and calling it the CHR is atrocious. The first CHR started at something ridiculous, like 22, I think it dropped down below 20. Started at something like that, I believe so, let me check. It doesn't matter. Anyway, and the new one is starting at what, 45? Give me a break. So out of everything the EV is bad at, which is towing, being fun to drive because those heavy battery banks, going off-roading, they chose to make 3 cars around specifically the weakest parts of EVs. Wonderful job. And not only did they choose to make 3 EVs around the worst possible aspects of driving an electric vehicle, they should have made a city car. Did they make a city car? No, they made an expensive, fast. I'm saying there are proper uses for EVs. An EV Honda Fit, that would all the people that would buy Honda Fits would buy an EV Honda Fit. I can guarantee it. But the people that would buy Subaru Outbacks are not going to buy an EV Subaru Outback because they want their Outback to tow and go long distances. And go in cold climates, like Canada. People in Canada love Subaru and they love Volvo. Why? Because they start in cold climates. So you're telling me you're introducing an EV which will underperform in cold climates as an off-road vehicle? It's just boring. It's stupid. It is stupid. It's so stupid it makes me want to go crazy, rip all my hair out, and then go in an asylum. It's crazy. And not only did they do that, make 3 cars based off of literally the worst aspects of electric vehicles and driving electric vehicles, they chose to put them to literally every single brand they could find. Lexus, Toyota, Subaru. Lexus, I think, already has one now. I think they're getting another. Oh, I forgot the new thing. There's already a new EV, which Toyota's just crapped out. Let's take a look at this. Alright, they've done it again. The magical Presto has crapped out another EV, and let me tell you why it's a terrible idea. They're going after the Ioniq 9, and the difference is it's not going to work. Let me tell you why the Ioniq 9 works, but this chicane, this just stupid stuff, the Subaru Getaway. First of all, why is Subaru getting a version of this at all? They have an Ascent, the Ascent sells poorly, the Ascent doesn't do well, so you're telling me, in a market where a family SUV doesn't do well, a family EV SUV, oh yeah, great idea, that's gonna do great, you morons. The Lexus TZ, first of all, terrible name. The T and like the TX, first of all, the TX is the Grand Highlander. This is the Highlander EV. So if the Highlander EV is the same size as the Grand Highlander, I am going to jump off of the roof of my house. Enough with the names, guys. Enough. Crown Signia is bad enough, and now you're introducing this crap? I mean, enough. Enough with the names. Enough with the TZ and the Highlander and the Grand Highlander. And even though they're both, if it's the same size, I'm gonna lose my mind. And if it's not the same size, then why does the TZ and the TX why are they 2 different sizes? I get one's an EV, but still makes no sense to me. Second of all, the Ioniq 9 is a different type of car than these are. See, Hyundai will market it as what will be the most successful, which is a family SUV, but it's not. It's, in fact, a family MPV. Now, you may say, they look relatively the same shape, what's the difference? First of all, the Hyundai is more bulbous. Look at all the designs Toyota's put in first. First of all, it does make a difference, but it does make that. Have you ever crashed your car, like I just crashed my car into a pole, and then noticed the gas miles change? Like, I have gotten 3 less miles per gallon just because of the aerodynamics of my car, or worse, because I put a hole through my front bumper. So, going with the Subaru, first of all, by the way, and this isn't, we'll get to this. There's so many things that I want to talk about, and they're all in my head at the same time. First of all, the Ioniq is closer to the ground. The Ioniq has a more bulbous face. It's more aerodynamic. aerodynamic, it'll settle well with families. Why? Because instead of being designed like a stupid SUV, it's got a flat floor, it'll load flat, families will like it, it'll have plenty of room in the back. The Toyota is just a stupid way of designing it. It's an SUV, it's higher off the ground, and you want Hyundai will always market the Ioniq 9 as a family SUV. Why? Because it'll do better than if they market it as a family MPV. But it will win over the Toyotas because of just the difference in the way that it was designed. Now moving on to the other stupid thing. It's that the miles per, it's the range. The range, so we're about the 300 mile range here. So the Toyota has 320 miles and then the Hyundai has 335. Let me tell you exactly why that's stupid. 15-mile difference. That's not a whole lot of difference, except you want to know what it is? When families search for family SUVs, and they go by top range, and guess what shows up first? The Hyundai instead of the Toyota. Guys, you couldn't even do better range than the car you're trying to compete with. Sorry, I'm talking slower. My voice is killing me. Like, it's really grating right now. So I have to talk. I have to tone it down with the spirit. I'm still very spirited. Probably use some spirits to calm down my throat. The point is, so you're telling me you're gonna go after a car, and on the search results and Auto Tempest and all that crap, you're gonna give your car 50, not 30, not 100, not 50. 15 miles of range. This car wasn't developed for how many years? For how many years? And you couldn't give it 15. You couldn't even get the EPA to lie for you or something like that. You couldn't even make it a little bit more aerodynamic, giving it wheels that are not gigantic, 22-inch ridiculous into hood type things. You couldn't do any of that. So your car now, you're selling a car which is designed worse, in a worse shape, in a worse format that is unideal for families, marketed to families with less range than the vehicle. Really good, Toyota. You've really done it this time. Boy, do you know how to sell a car. And the next thing is just, it's the cherry on top. So why, and we're gonna, this beautiful Santa driving in the background to calm us down. Why would you buy a Toyota instead of a Hyundai or a Kia? Because I just made a video about this. Because Hyundai Kia sucks at reliability. So of course you buy a Toyota at reliability. So what should Toyotas, because remember, Toyota came into the game late. So they're not gonna have better EV technology. They're not gonna make better EVs. That's just not going to happen. But what do they have? What have they always had? Even though their cars, some of their cars have been, subpar at best and yet still sold well. It's reliability. Well, fantastic. Their new EVs don't even have that. There is a kid's song about the elements of a bus, and considering the size of these new EVs, they might as well be buses. And it's a very short song that's very understandable for kids. And one of the elements they point out on the bus is the wheels. So Toyota took that and said, so one of the most important parts of our cars is the wheels. Let's make them fall off! That's right, the original Toyota BZ had wheels that would fall off due to it was just a big thing, check your car if it has a recall, yada yada yada. All you really need to know is that the wheels fall off. Now this wasn't entirely Toyota's fault. They worked with a manufacturer they've worked with before, and they screwed them over, and the wheels fell off. First of all, how did they not notice sooner? Second of all, I get that you were rushing the EVs out, but you could at least done some basic tests. This happened extremely frequently. So the fact that, I'm not blaming Toyota here, but what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's their fault, it's manufacturer's fault, and not even their fault, things beyond our control, yada yada yada, acts of God. Point is, Toyota, it's just extremely, you have to admit, it's extremely inconvenient. So let's do a little rundown here. Let's just look at what we're left with here. So we're left with 4 EVs, designed in a way where they would look unconvincing no matter how many times they're rebadged under any brand on the planet, and that's a kind of a bad thing because they are rebadged to every single brand on the planet. That Toyota, if Toyota had control over Mazda, Mazda would get them too. I really don't know what they're thinking. So we have I got distracted. 4 EVs that are designed to look unconvincing no matter which brand they're put under, with nonsensical splits between the brands that can often be unreliable because they're rushed into production, that aren't going to sell well in markets where EVs technically don't sell that well and are designed in specific ways to accentuate the issues with EVs. If you locked me in a room for 10,000 years, I could not come up with this. And also, I never mocked the name of the new Subaru. The Subaru Getaway? What's next? In Subaru Happy Honda Days? I mean, come on, what are these names? I mean, we have Impreza, we have Legacy. You couldn't have called it the Monarch or something Subaru-y. You couldn't even have gone off of the Deliza. That's a terrible name, but that's a pastry brand. You couldn't have come up with something like more traditionally Subaru-y than Getaway. You could say how do you tell if a name is good or not? You could take the name and put it under any brand and does it sound normal? The Chevy Camry, it doesn't sound good. Toyota Camry, it's got a nice ring to it. The Chevy Getaway, Geo Getaway, Suzuki Getaway, Toyota Getaway, Subaru Getaway, Lexus Getaway. every single time, not only does it not sound great, it sounds bad under all of them, including Subaru. And it doesn't sound like it belongs to any of them. Under the Planet, Mazda Getaway. It's a terrible name. It's a terrible name. It's like, Midia, I'm just gonna pick up random, the next Subaru EV. Midia Duo air conditioner remote. Random screw from my desk. M-Tech 128 gigabyte flash drive. I mean, come on. Enough with the Subaru names. Better names. So, that's really what I want to talk about. Toyota's new EV thing sucks. I mean, it stinks. It reeks. It's terrible. It's inefficient. It's bad. It intentionally accentuates the issues with EVs. Yeah. So that's all. And I will see you guys real soon. And if you think it's just, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. All right, because sometimes I can be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong here, but I am not above being wrong. So with that, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you soon. And let's just hope Toyota doesn't end up going through the garbage disposal like every other brand which just tried doing this. But hey, at the end, at least they didn't have to rely on GM like Honda did.